I'm making some interesting, and you could even go as far as saying life-changing fashion resolutions for next year. And I'm thinking that you may like to make some of them too. Hi, I'm Leonie and welcome to my channel. Now, I'm not generally someone that makes a whole lot of New Year's resolutions. I've kind of fallen into that trap and don't tend to do that anymore. But there were a whole lot of changes that I plan on making in terms of fashion next year that are not only going to make it easier for me to get dressed, but also easier for me to evolve my style and just really look a little more stylish. And I wanted to share these resolutions because I really do think that some of them may resonate with you too. Now, when you're watching this video, I am currently in the US. I'm spending the whole of December in Washington, DC. So if you'd like to see what I'm up to, what I suggest is following me on my LTK platform. I'll be uploading there daily. If not daily, it'll be really regularly. So I will leave a link to my LTK in the description box below. So please consider following me there and you can follow my trip and see what I'm getting up to. But for now, because the new year is just around the corner, let's go through some of these, I think, life-changing fashion resolutions. Now, the first resolution is to take one fashion risk a month. So a fashion risk doesn't need to be as scary as it sounds, but it's basically incorporating a new trend or a new color or a new outfit combination into your everyday outfits. And while for some people that isn't a risk, for others it really is. We get very much set in our idea of what works for us and we create the same outfits over and over. So what I am going to challenge myself to doing next year, and I really do think that this could be a good little exercise for most of us, is to challenge yourself to take a fashion risk every month. And as I said, it doesn't have to be anything crazy, but it just means that it's something that pushes you a little bit outside your comfort zone. And of course, the easiest way to find something new that suits you or a new look is to push yourself out of that comfort zone and try something new. So take a fashion risk once a month and see what happens. Now, my next resolution is to create a new fashion uniform. Now, if you're not sure what a fashion uniform is, essentially it is just your go-to outfits that kind of are your signature style. These are the outfits that you can pull together really quickly, that you don't have to think too hard about. They're your kind of go-to outfits that you can create in an instant and you look good in them, you feel good, they suit your lifestyle, rah-de-rah-de-rah. So I definitely have a fashion uniform and I think it's time to mix it up a little bit. Now, I love fashion uniforms. I do think that there's a real place for them, but I do also think that it's important to change them up a little bit, reinvent them and evolve them. So if you have a fashion uniform to speak of, maybe it's time to give it a little tweak or just move it in a slightly different direction to give yourself a little bit of a fresh new look and feel for the new year. And at this point, I'd just like to say a very big thank you to the team at Squarespace for sponsoring this portion of today's episode. I have a Squarespace blog and I wouldn't have it any other way. I've used Squarespace to build my own blog and clients' blogs over the years. And the reason I do that is because it is so easy to navigate. You might be surprised to know that I don't have a whole lot of technical smarts. And that's probably the biggest reason that I use Squarespace. They also have some stunning templates to choose from, so you can create a very professional website in no time at all. So if you would like to launch yourself online, what I suggest you do is whip on over to Squarespace and take advantage of their free trial. And then when you're ready to launch yourself online, simply use my unique URL, which is squarespace.com/The Style Insider. I'll put that up on the screen here. And my code, which is The Style Insider, and that will save you 10% off your first website or domain with Squarespace. If you do want to create any sort of online presence, then Squarespace is the way to do it. Thanks so much for sponsoring this portion of today's episode. Now, next up, what I am planning on doing is I'm going to find a few new muses. So it's all well and good saying that you should take some fashion risks or you should change and tweak your fashion uniform. But sometimes you need a little bit of inspiration to do that. Now, there are a number of fashion muses that I follow regularly. I love their style. It suits my own style and lifestyle. And I think I need to find a few more so that I can kind of be inspired by their looks and how they create outfits. Of course, I love having fun and playing with my own looks, but there's nothing better than being inspired by someone else's style. It's the best way for me to really get the most out of the pieces that I currently own. If I see someone's style that I love, I will identify pieces that I own that perhaps I'm not wearing as often. So I do need to find a few new muses to follow and be inspired by. And while I think of it, let me know who your favorite fashion muses are in the comments below. I would love to hear whose style you feel really inspired by. Certainly Karen Britchick is one of mine, and I have a large selection, but I would love to hear yours, and maybe that's a video idea in itself, to create a whole episode based on some really cool fashion girls and influencers to follow. But please let me know in the comments below who you rate and whose style you personally love. Now, I talked about challenging yourself to take a fashion risk every month. What I'm also going to do is challenge myself to try a new trend. Now, I'm not saying necessarily every month, but for me, one of the trends that I'm definitely going to try is crochet. Now, it's a trend that I just haven't really gelled with. It's always been a little bit too boho for me, but some of the pieces that I've seen recently and some of the sets that I've seen have just been so fashionable and stylish and really cool, and they're pieces that I can see working into my outfits. So I am going to challenge myself to try a trend that is a little bit new, potentially a little bit out of my comfort zone, or a trend that I haven't normally been drawn to. So I'm going to challenge you to the same. Now, my next resolution is to spend a little bit more time planning outfits. Now, I generally tend to do this a little bit at the beginning of a new season, but life has got busy and I have got out of the habit of doing it, but I do intend to really invest that little bit of time with planning outfits. And it does require a little bit of time, but that upfront time investment definitely pays off big time when it comes to creating outfits and creating new looks, and definitely making the pieces that you currently own work a lot harder for you. So instead of just relying on those same pieces that you always grab, if you do spend a little bit of time planning and certainly taking photos of the looks that you've created and coming up with some interesting and perhaps not traditional combinations of the pieces that you own, then you are going to extend your lineup and extend your wardrobe without spending any money. So I'm definitely going to be spending a little bit of time planning out some new outfits from the clothes that I already own. Now, next up, I plan to be far more intentional when it comes to bringing new pieces into my wardrobe. So I want to be consciously thinking about everything I buy, and I'm usually pretty good, but I have noticed that I've slipped a little bit in the last couple of months. And I think that's the lead up to the holiday season. Life gets busy, and also, I've been getting more and more emails from some of my favorite brands. They'll pop up with a great sale, whether it's a Black Friday sale or something that has piqued my interest. And I've made some fairly fast decisions on buying pieces. And while I don't think that I've actually made any mistakes, I do want to be more conscious about my spending and creating a wardrobe that I absolutely love and that I'm going to get that wear out of. So one of my biggies for next year is very much being more intentional with building my wardrobe. Now, next up, I'm also going to up my merchandising game, and if you can't see it in your wardrobe, you're not going to wear it. And that's as simple as it is. And certainly when it comes to merchandising in fashion stores, the better the store is merchandised and the more often things are moved around in the store, the more regularly they're going to get sold. And the same applies for your wardrobe. The more you perhaps move things around a little bit and give some pieces a little bit more of a spotlight moment, the more likely you are of wearing those pieces. So I'm definitely going to be taking my lead from fashion retailers, swapping things around a little bit, perhaps coming up with some better merchandising options so that I can see more of the pieces that I own and love, because as I said, if you can't see it, you are not going to wear it. So this one's a little bit twofold. It's about coming up with different merchandising ways, so ways to store my clothes, but also moving my wardrobe around a little bit and reorganizing pieces so that I do very much wear the entirety of what I own. Another resolution for me is to wear more color, and I don't know about you guys, but I have kind of not been wearing a whole lot of color lately. And I do notice here, if I wear a colorful top, I get lots and lots of comments from you guys, and I really love that. And it kind of is a reminder that color just has that effect on people. It makes you feel happy, and generally people that see you, it resonates with them as well. It's that whole basis of dopamine dressing. And that is one of the things that I do plan on doing next year. It's going to be easier for me in New Zealand because February, we are in peak summer, so I always find it's easier to wear color when the weather's hot outside, but I am going to make a conscious effort to incorporate a little bit more color into my outfits. And speaking of color, I am planning on doing a very basic color combining type video. So I know that the idea of incorporating color and certainly brights into your wardrobe can be a little scary. So please let me know in the comments below if you would be interested in me creating a beginner's guide to wearing color. Now, one of my other resolutions is to spend a little time researching some new fashion brands and labels to love. And this is something that I used to do all the time. I haven't done it for ages, and I love it when I stumble upon a new label or a new designer. And while I may not always buy from them, I do get inspired to create looks with the clothes that I already own. So I'm very much going to, perhaps when I'm scrolling Instagram, really look and see where some of the pieces are that I like that I see, so I can kind of go that little step further and hopefully find some new labels and new fashion brands to love. This is always super inspiring for me, and it doesn't necessarily mean, as I said, that I'm going to spend more money. It just means that I've got another form of inspiration. Another resolution is to stop buying clothes for a single occasion. Now, I've done that a couple of times this year. That's it. I am not doing that again. So for formal events or for sort of special events generally, or even if it's kind of a milestone birthday, I have found myself making probably fairly hasty decisions on pieces because they are going to suit that particular occasion. But the problem is, if they're not working in with other pieces that I already own, I'm not going to get that wear out of them. Obviously, if you can afford to do this, that is great. But for me, I just don't want to fall into that trap anymore. So again, if you've got a better handle on your wardrobe and on the pieces that you own, you will own some of those pieces that you can easily dress up and elevate to more of a special occasion. So that is it. No more wasting money on special occasion pieces that just don't get that cost per wear. I'm also going to keep top of mind the power of a great capsule wardrobe. And I know a lot of people are fearful of capsule wardrobes, but essentially all it is a wardrobe full of pieces that work for you and your lifestyle, but they also work together. So they're pieces that can be mixed and matched, and basically you don't own a whole lot of pieces that really don't work in well together. So a capsule wardrobe is going to look different for everyone, but certainly for me, I'm going to keep it front of mind that you don't need a lot of clothes, but you do need a well put together wardrobe of pieces that interweave and work really nicely with each other. So not just those pieces that are kind of standalones that don't go with a lot of other pieces that you own. The more you find those pieces that do work and interact well with each other, the easier it is to have a cohesive wardrobe and to not have to feel the need to keep spending and buying new. You know that feeling of you'll see something new and you think, if only I had that dress, or if only I had that coat, then my wardrobe would be complete. Well, often that's not the case. It's you constantly trying to buy those single pieces to sort of give yourself that gratification. And that generally tends to happen when you don't own a capsule wardrobe that consists of pieces that work really well together. So for me, I am very much going to put a capsule wardrobe at the front of my mind when it comes to buying and bringing anything new into my wardrobe. I'm also making the resolution to make more difficult decisions when it comes to parting with my clothes. And I recently watched a video of Karen Britchick, and she'd obviously been filming a whole lot of reels and a whole lot of content, and she had clothes everywhere, just out of shot, and she was reselling, and I can't even remember where she was reselling, maybe Depop or Real or somewhere. But it did make me think that it is really important to let go, especially if you do own a lot of clothes. And certainly for me, I get sent quite a few clothes. Some of them work for me, some of them don't really suit my idea of my perfect capsule wardrobe. So I do need to be really brave and make some of those hard decisions to move some of those pieces out. And I'm not advocating a disposable wardrobe, but I am saying that it is important sometimes to make those decisions, because any space in your wardrobe I consider prime retail, and if you clutter that prime retail, getting dressed is going to be so much harder. So I am making that promise to myself to be brave and make some of those harder decisions, to not hold on to pieces that I don't absolutely love. Now, last but definitely not least, what I am suggesting, and something that I'm going to do, is to play into my potential. And what I mean by that is very much just dialing up my uniqueness, and that's what I would love to see you guys doing as well. Like, I know I talk a lot about trends on my channel, and trends are great to kind of guide us with our fashion choices, but if we focus too much attention on fashion trends, I think it's easy to lose sight of our own uniqueness, and therefore we don't kind of really reach our own potential. So I'm very much going into 2024 thinking about my own fashion potential and how I can really explore that and use my uniqueness to do it. So I'm suggesting that you do the same. And in fact, I almost think that this is the most important fashion resolution for me. I do think it's very easy to lose sight of what makes us us and what makes us special. So let's all look at reaching our own fashion potential next year. Anyway, that's it from me today. I hope you enjoyed this one, and if you did, I'd love you to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.